2 bear rescue organizations she listed at the bottom of her letter. Just as we can never really tell what our own breath smells like, I will never know if I would like my writing. If I wasn't myself and someone sent me one of my essay collections, would I recommend it to friends? Would I stop reading after a dozen or so pages? There's so much that goes into a decision like that. How many times have I dismissed something just because a person I didn't approve of found it enjoyable? Or maybe I decided it was too popular. That's the sort of snobbery that kept my younger self slogging through books I honestly had no interest in. The sorts I'd announce had taken me 6 months to finish, but were only 200 pages long. If something is written in your native language and it's taking you half a year to get through it, unless you're being paid by the hour to read it, I'd say there's a problem. One thing that I would like about my writing is that so much of it has to do with family. It's something that's always interested me, and it's one of the reasons I so love Greeks. You could meet an American and wait for months before he begins a sentence with the words, "So then, my mother." It's the same in France and England. Oh, they might get around to it eventually, but it never feels imperative. With Greeks, though, it's usually only a matter of seconds before you hear about someone's brother or what a pain his sister is. There's a lot of talk lately about the family you choose. It's a phrase often used by people who were rejected by their parents or siblings and so formed a group of supportive kindred spirits. I think it's great they're part of a tight-knit circle, but I wouldn't call it a family. Essential to that word is that the people you're surrounded by were not chosen. They were assigned by fate, and now you must deal with them in one way or another until you die. For me, that hasn't been much of a problem. Even when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have traded my parents for anyone else's, and the same goes for my brother and sisters. It bothers me then when someone refers to my family as dysfunctional. That word is overused, at least in the United States, and more to the point, it's wrongly used. My father hoarding food inside my sister's vagina would be dysfunctional. His hoarding it beneath the bathroom sink, as he is wont to do, is at best quirky and at worst unsanitary. There's an Alan Gurganus quote I think of quite often. Without much accuracy, with strangely little love at all, your family will decide for you exactly who you are, and they'll keep nudging, coaxing, poking you until you've changed into that very simple shape. Is there a richer or more complex story than that? I like to think that the affection I have for my family is apparent. Well into our adulthoods, teetering on our dotage, most of us, we're still on good terms. We write one another, we talk, we take vacations together. I just can't see the dysfunction in that. The pieces in this book, both fiction and nonfiction, are the sort I hoped to produce back when I first started writing at the age of 20. I didn't know how to get from where I was then to where I am now, but who does? Like everyone else, I stumbled along, making mistakes while embarrassing myself and others. Sorry, everyone I've ever met. I'll always be inclined toward my most recent work, if only because I've had less time to turn on it. When I first started writing essays, they were about big dramatic events, the sort you relate when you meet someone new and are trying to explain to them what made you the person you are. As I get older, I find myself writing about smaller and smaller things. As an exercise, it's much more difficult, and thus, for me anyway, much more rewarding. I hope you feel the same. If not, I can probably expect to hear from you. Glenn's Homophobia Newsletter, Volume 3, Number 2, Dear Subscriber. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the lack of both the spring and summer issues of Glenn's Homophobia Newsletter. I understand that you subscribed with the promise that this was to be a quarterly publication. 4 seasons worth of news from the front lines of our constant battle against oppression. That was my plan.